morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly if you are new here. I just brewed myself a good cup of coffee. I'm literally talking to you guys at 9:30 in the morning. I kind of got up around 8 o'clock this morning and just felt like making a video, so here I am. And I am going to talk to you guys today about some things that I feel like are important to think about before you become a nurse or before you decide you want to go into nursing. So I have my phone down here with a list of things that I think are the most important. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So I have listed out 5 of the most important, and I'll kind of elaborate on each one of them to tell you guys like what I think is the most important to think about. Because I definitely don't think that I was prepared going into nursing like I should have been. I feel like, you know, a little background on me is I went, when I was in high school, I took medical classes. They offered those to us in high school. Someone from a local college would come in and teach these medical classes, and you could get college credit for them. So as a junior and senior in high school, I decided to do that, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, what is something career-wise that I can do in the medical field that doesn't take 10 plus years to get a degree in? Because I definitely did not want to go to college for that long. So I started looking into it and realized that you could get into a fast track program and become a nurse within a couple of years. So that's what I decided to do. And I had, my mom had a few nurse friends. Some of my classmates in high school, their moms were nurses. Some of the girls that had graduated before me, that were a few grades ahead of me, had also gone on and become nurses. And I had talked to them about it, and they're like, oh yeah, you should totally do it. I could see you being a nurse, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, the one thing that no one explained is the things that I'm going to go over with you guys. These are things that probably in hindsight might have deterred me from becoming a nurse, and I'm glad that I am where I am. Don't get me wrong. I love being a nurse and I don't see myself doing anything else. But I think that if I would have known a few things, I might have chosen a different career path. And I think these are things that people should really know before they go into nursing school. So why don't we go ahead and get started. I will start with number 1. Definitely gonna be sipping on this throughout the video too. So number 1 kind of goes off of what I was just saying, is making sure that this career is for you. Make sure that you go into this and you know as much as you can about nursing, about the nursing career, before you make sure, oh, yep, this is the career that I want. So, for example, if you're in high school, like I was, and you're like, ooh, I really have an interest in the medical field, but what can I be? Okay, I want to be a nurse. Go shadow somebody. You know, there are so many nurses that you can go to, whether it's at bedside at the hospital, a clinic, aesthetics, whatever, that you can go shadow them and see what they do in a day, and you can kind of compare that to what you're thinking about as a career for yourself and be like, okay, yes, that is what I want to do. I like what I just did for a day shadowing this nurse. I liked everything that she did in a day. I liked her routine. I liked, you know, she explained to me these certain things and whatever. Just make for sure that that career is for you. That is my number 1 tip. So moving on to number 2, it kind of goes into what I just said, making sure this career is for you. There are several, I mean, probably hundreds of nurse jobs out there to choose from. And that is another reason that I wanted to go into nursing. I feel like there are so many nursing jobs to choose from. So if you get tired of, let's say, I currently work in the hospital as a nurse, as a bedside nurse. So let's say I get tired of that and I want to quit that job and do a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I can do that. There are clinics everywhere with nurses, LPNs, RNs, you know, everywhere. So that's another option. You can go to clinics. You can be an aesthetic nurse and do Botox and do lip fillers, and they've got IV infusion clinics where you're literally basically starting IVs all day and giving people vitamins, and maybe they have like MS or something like that and you're giving them their treatment. You can go be a chemo nurse. I mean, it's endless. I mean, I could sit here and list jobs forever. So that kind of goes along with making sure this career is for you. There are multiple nursing jobs to choose from. So like I said, that is another reason that I wanted to go into nursing, because I was like, okay, let me plan this out. I'll be a med-surg nurse for 2-3 years and get that experience, and then I'll move on to something else. Hindsight, I did not move on. I'm still bedside nursing, but still, you get my point. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that you need to make sure that you are a good communicator. You need to make sure that you're not going into nursing just for the money or this or that. You need to make sure that this is something that you can be compassionate about, because you're taking care of human beings. You've got to make sure that you can explain to a patient not necessarily disease processes and diagnoses, because that's what doctors are supposed to do, but make sure that you can explain very well to where they understand, and not in our medical term, because most people do not understand the medical terms, but make sure they understand like our bedside procedures. So like inserting a Foley, starting an IV, if you're about to start a medication. For example, I'm a cardiac nurse, so if you're going in and you're going to start a drip for their heart, I always like to go in and be like, hey, Mr. So-and-so, your heart rate is very high, through the roof. Your heart rate's very high, and we are going to start a drip on you. The doctor has decided, hey, this drip is going to help your heart rate come down. Or, you just want to make sure that you are a good communicator, because the doctors are going to come in and they are going to explain things to patients, yes, but doctors don't always understand too that patients need it more like dumbed down, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but they don't understand medical terms. So you may have to come in behind the doctor, after the doctor leaves the room. The patient might be like, hey, Kelly, I have no idea what that doctor just explained to me. I've had that happen to me so many times, and there's some things that I can't explain because that's more in the doctor's realm, and I may have to be like, hey doc, can you come back? The patient didn't really understand what you just explained to them, and they need it broken down a little bit more. Or it may be, we're going to do a bedside procedure, and I know the whole process of it. I've done it a bunch of times, and I may explain it to the patient a little bit further. So you not only need to be a good communicator towards your patient, you need to be a good communicator with the doctor, with other nurses. You're going to have to delegate tasks to your CNAs. So you need to make sure that you're able to talk to people. Now, this is something that you can learn over time, because I'm going to tell you, I went to college straight out of high school as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old going into nursing. I was not good at talking to people. I was very shy. I didn't know what I was getting into. You go into your nursing career and you have all these seasoned nurses who know all of these things. I was so intimidated and I didn't know what to do. But you learn that. Those are so many things that you learn from that nursing job. So just make sure from the 3 things that I've listed so far that that's what you want to do. Going into being a good communicator, followed with that is being a nurse is more than just following what orders the doctors put in for you. So, you may think, or this may have been portrayed a long time ago with nursing, oh, you just follow whatever the doctors say. Or, oh, is there an order for that? Okay, just follow what the order says. Because some of the doctors, when they put in orders, that's incorrect. That's not what your patient needs. You have to be a patient advocate and make sure that, okay, this is exactly what the medication that the patient needs. This is what we need to be doing for the patient. This is what's best for the patient. Because at the end of the day, that's who we're worried about the most, is the patient. So you have to make sure that you're not just sitting there following the orders. There may be sometimes that a patient's like, hey, I've got this going on. There's not an order for that. And you may have to reach out to a doctor and be like, hey, my patient in this room is having trouble with this, and here's what I think they need. And they may put in an order for that afterwards. And a lot of doctors are so grateful for nurses like that, that will stick up for their patients, and they know what their patients need. I can get on a coffee kick and keep talking, you guys. And there may also be times that doctors put in orders, like I said, and they're not the correct orders. For example, working at a teaching hospital with resident physicians who are still in school and they're learning, they may not know, because they're brand new as well. They may not know what orders they're putting in. So there may be times that you have to speak up. This goes along with the communication. Maybe times that you have to speak up and be like, hey doctor, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. This is the incorrect order. The patient has A, B, and C going on, so they don't need these medications that you ordered, or these fluids, because they're fluid overloaded, or whatever it may be. So just know that being a nurse is much more than going into it and reading a list of things to do and just going and doing it. You may have to speak up. So that's my number 4. My last and final point is that nursing school does not prepare you for your nursing job. So I did an LPN program, an accelerated LPN program, and an accelerated RN program. And I was not prepared whenever I went into my actual nursing job. I came out of nursing school knowing like evidence-based practice and what you should do in nursing school land and what you should do on NCLEX world and NCLEX land, so that that's what they teach you, so that you can pass your boards whenever you graduate. So whenever you go into your actual nursing job, you're going to learn your things on the job. And that's something that I had no idea of, is in nursing school, they're teaching you all these things, again, about the NCLEX. It's NCLEX world. What would you do in NCLEX world? All of those things, majority of those things, you do not do in a real life nursing world. And that's something that I had to learn, and that was a little bit difficult for me, to be honest. Going into it, I was like, but that's not how you do that. I mean, that's not what I learned in nursing school. And you know, most of those seasoned nurses are like, but Kelly, that's not real life. You're going to learn that 90% of the things in nursing is not what you learn in nursing school. Of course, like the disease processes, you know, your medications, all of those, yes, that is set in stone. That is how you do it in real life. But as far as like sterile technique, placing a Foley, you can be as sterile as possible, but at the end of the day, putting a Foley in is not entirely sterile. So just things like that to keep in mind, is that nursing school does not entirely prepare you, and that most of your learning and your experience that you gained is from doing on-the-job training. So that is my 5 main points that I hope you guys take away from this video and were very helpful for you. Those are things that I feel like were most important, that I did not know, that nobody warned me about before going into nursing school, nursing in general, deciding to be a nursing major. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!